Welcome to the second year chemistry labs for the second semester elective, the Chemistry of Biological Molecules. If you have completed a chemistry lab course this year, please make sure that you still watch this video as it contains information specific to this lab course. The second year chemistry labs are on level 5 of the chemistry building. This introductory video will tell you a bit about how these labs will run. You must watch this video and answer the short quiz about what you've seen in the video before you can access other important parts of this Blackboard site. You must obtain a score of 5 out of 5 for the quiz before you can proceed.
First, here are some of the faces you'll need to know during this course. I am the second year lab director. You should contact me in case of any questions about the course that are not answered in the lab manual or on Blackboard. Please do not contact your lecturers or the student admin manager. They will just pass on your queries to me. You can expect a reply within 24 hours. Professor Greg Waugh is the Deputy Lab Director. Shane and Carlo are the technical officers who work in the Level 5 service room. They oversee the day-to-day running of the labs.
As part of this lab course, you must attend 5 lab sessions in weeks 9 to 13. Labs run from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. You will be rotating through 4 different experiments in this lab course. Experiments 1, 2, and 3 will run for 1 week, and experiment 4 will run over 2 weeks. All students will complete the same experiment, experiment 1, in week 9. You will then be divided into groups and you'll rotate through the experiments according to your group. The lab classes are at capacity, so we cannot allow students to swap between days. It's therefore essential that you attend the day for which you have been timetabled. If you absolutely must change lab days for 1 week, you must contact me at least a week in advance to organise this swap. If you just turn up at the lab, you won't be allowed in. Students who are timetabled for Monday labs will miss that lab in week 10 due to Labour Day. Because of class sizes, we cannot allow you to catch up this lab on another day. Your other marks for the other experiments will be averaged to cover this lab that you have missed. Make sure that you familiarise yourself with the lab program folder on Blackboard, as it contains all the essential information that you will need for the course, including the pre-work quizzes, the folder for report submission, and other important information like appendices. This year you are expected to be able to use ChemSketch or a similar structure drawing program and Excel or a similar graphing program. Information about these can be found in the training folder. You should try to do this training as soon as you can. The first thing that you must do, as soon as possible, is to pick up a lab manual from the Level 5 service room. Please read through this thoroughly as it contains all the information you need about the labs. Before you come to class each week, you must complete the online pre-work for the experiment you'll be doing. This is a very easy quiz, just 5 multiple choice questions, and many of the answers can be found in the lab manual. The pre-work is essential. It is designed to make sure that you have read the lab before you come to class, and it will cover any safety issues that you need to think about. If you haven't done the pre-work, you will not be allowed into the lab and you will therefore be given a mark of 0 for that week. The pre-work is all in a folder in this Blackboard site, but you won't be able to access it until you have completed the short quiz below this video. Don't forget that you will be doing experiment 1 in week 9, so it's the experiment 1 pre-work that you need to complete. Experiments will often take the full 4-hour lab session, so it's essential that you read the lab manual and plan for your experiment before you come to class. You will be given a notebook that looks something like this. You must record all your data in the notebook and write down anything that you think is important. If you want to query a mark or ask a question, you must bring your notebook with you so that we can check what you actually did in the lab. If you have completed another chemistry lab course this year and you still have your lab notebook, then please continue to use it. This will save us from wasting half-filled notebooks. You then won't be required to complete the lab safety map for this course, as we will be able to see that you've already done it. In your first lab session, you will be given a pink card. Paste this into the front cover of your lab book. This card will show your personal details and will also include a barcode encoding your student number. The group and the lab day will also be shown on your pink card. The card will show the order in which you will complete the experiments, and it also contains spots for sample collection or hand-in. If you go up to the service room counter to collect a sample or to hand in a sample, you must take your pink card with you. The marks breakdown for the course can be found in the introduction to the lab manual. You will see that for all experiments, the pre-work will contribute 10%, and the remainder of the mark will be a combination of the experimental results and the experimental reporting method. Note that the experimental reporting method differs depending on the experiment. You can find out more specific information about how each experiment is assessed in the lab notes for that experiment. Make sure you read carefully what you need to submit and where. When asked, submit samples and TLC plates to the service room, making sure that they are clearly labelled. You will be marked on the quality of your TLC plate, the appearance of your sample, and the yield of your sample. For experiments 1, 2, and 3, you will be required to submit some experimental data on the online data submission system before you leave the lab. The results that you enter will be marked according to accuracy, how close they are to the correct answer. Marks will be awarded based on the distribution of student results, so to obtain full marks you must be within 1 standard deviation of the correct answer. For experiment 1, you will need to submit your completed results sheet and attached graphs that you have generated in the lab. You can submit this at the end of the lab session, or you can take it home to work on it. The results sheet must be submitted to the service room by 5 p.m. on Tuesday the 6th of October. All other assessment tasks must be submitted via Turnitin by midnight 1 week after your lab session. On Blackboard, you will not be able to see the report submission folder until you have read the plagiarism acknowledgement and checked the box. Once you have checked the box, the report submission folder will appear. In the report submission folder, you will find folders for each experiment, and inside each folder you will find Turnitin drop boxes. Please take care to submit your report to the correct folder and Dropbox. If you do not do this, your report will not be marked on time and you may lose marks. Submit your report by clicking on View or Complete for the correct folder. Most of the experiments in this lab course will be performed individually, but for a couple you may be required to work in a small group to collect data. One of the aims of this lab course is to teach you to report your scientific results. We therefore require that your reports are your own work and are not plagiarised from other students or from other sources. So even when you complete an experiment in pairs, the report must be your own. We do actively check for plagiarism, and in any cases where we identify that you have copied from anywhere else, we will take further action.
It is essential to consider safety when working in the lab. You must be wearing closed shoes, safety glasses, a lab coat, and have long hair tied back. Whenever you step out of the lab, even if it's just to go to the toilet, you must take off your lab coat. You are not allowed to wear a lab coat anywhere in the common areas of the building. As usual, there should be no eating or drinking in the laboratory, and you are not to talk on your mobile phones or even text while you're in the lab. If you absolutely must take a call, please step outside. There is a safety map in the lab manual which will help you identify all important safety features of the labs. You must complete this map and have it signed by a demonstrator when you first come to the lab. One aspect of the safety is that we need to keep track of who is in the lab at all times. We are doing this by having a sign-in, sign-out computer where you can scan your student cards each time you walk in or out of the lab. You must do this even if you are just going out to the toilets or to have a drink of water. The computer will record your attendance at the lab, but we will not record any other information. We are only collecting this information for safety. If you don't have your student card with you, you can type in your SID. Remember that the first thing you need to do is to complete the quiz just below this video. And don't forget to pick up your lab manual and do your pre-work before you come to class. We look forward to seeing you in second year labs this semester.